YouTube. I thought I would make a video about my experience having a SARPE surgery, which is a surgically assisted rapid palatal expansion. And what it is that my upper jaw was too narrow, so they wanted to widen it with an expander. But as an adult, your bones are fused, so the orthodontist wanted a surgeon to make 2 cuts here so that when the expander is cranked, it goes out this way and actually works. He said that without the surgery, my teeth might just tilt outwards instead of moving. So, or instead of my jaw actually being widened. So that's why I did have it. And first it starts with you get a referral from your orthodontist. So then you go to that appointment and you just pretty much talk to the surgeon. He'll tell you what it entails and you can ask questions. And I'm sorry if my camera is shaking, the train is going by. So you basically just ask questions, and then they scheduled me for my history and physical. So you do that before you have the surgery, and then the actual day of surgery I had to be there at the hospital 2 hours early so I could be prepped. And basically the prep is just they stick an IV in your arm and then they make you put on a hospital gown and hospital socks. So that was one thing I didn't like, because the nurse was like, she's like, you gotta take off all your clothes, and I'm like, what? I was like, no. So I did not like that. I felt really weird. And the IV isn't very bad. If you had your blood taken out, I think that is 100 times worse than having an IV. Because I mean, like, the blood drawn, it seems more painful, and the pain from it seems to last a lot longer than the IV needle pain does. So not so much afraid of that. I just don't look at it when they did it. I just didn't look. And then you're in the hospital for like 2 hours before they even do anything. Basically, you're just sitting around in a room. And I got really bored and I kind of got agitated because it seemed like it lasted forever. And I was so nervous I didn't want to watch TV or anything. And then they did put a relaxant through my IV, so that made it a lot better. But it was still not very enjoyable. But I mean, what surgery is enjoyable? So you sit around in the room for 2 hours, and then the nurse took me into the OR. I mean, she wheeled the bed down the hallway. And then I remember getting on the table, and they kind of like, they take your gown off and slide it down to put all the monitors all over. And I remember there being a ton of people in the room. There's like the actual surgeon, and then the anesthesiologist, the nurse, probably another lady that was probably the surgery tech, and then I think there was 2 or 3 residents. So it's kind of intimidating. There's a lot of people in the room. And those heart monitors, that's another thing about them. That sticky crap took forever to wash off. I think I was washing it off for like 2 weeks, and I mean, and I had these patches everywhere. So yeah, that's one thing that drove me crazy. And so you have the surgery and you're completely knocked out. So it's not that bad. It's not very traumatizing, and you wake up in a post-anesthesia room, which I remember waking up and going back to sleep 1,000 times. And then I would look around and there'd be other people out groggy in there, so it's like, you know, it's kind of funny because it's like everybody's drugged. And then I woke up in another recovery room. So you're moved around a lot. I mean, you start in a hospital room, then you go to the operating room, then you go to the post-anesthesia care unit, and then you go to the recovery room. So you see a lot of different people. And then the post-anesthesia, or no, the recovery room, I was in there for a while because I think they have certain guidelines before they can discharge you. So I remember sitting in there for a while, and I kept wanting to go to sleep, and then I was just so out of it. And this is a really funny part. I'm sorry if this is TMI, but I remember having to go to the bathroom. And this is so funny when you just woke up from anesthesia. You can't walk. You can't walk at all. And the toilet was like 5 feet off the ground. And I remember just, I couldn't even barely sit. And then I felt like I was in there forever. I was in there so long, or what felt like forever. The nurse is like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Because I remember I couldn't even like pull the toilet paper down. I was like that groggy. It was so bad. So that's like just a funny part of it. And then I couldn't hardly walk back to the bed because you're just so crazily out of it. You just can't even walk. So then they discharged me, and I had a 2-hour drive home, but I think they used Marcaine, so you don't really have pain when they use Marcaine because that's pretty strong. Like, you know, it's pretty strong for pain. And so I remember the worst part about the car ride home was that they want you to eat something because you don't eat or drink before the surgery at all. So we went through DQ because it's usually something like ice cream because you can't chew after you've had jaw surgery. And I remember just feeling so sick. Like, eating in the car after having surgery is so bad. Like, and I had chocolate ice cream, and whatever you do, do not get chocolate ice cream and do not get anything with syrup because you will feel so sick. Like, just stick with plain Jane vanilla something that is just tastes like nothing because it was awful. And then, so I get home, and I had pain medicine. Like, I had liquid hydrocodone, which I specifically asked for liquid because I did not want to swallow pills. I hate swallowing pills to begin with, but then it's even worse when you've had surgery. You don't want to have to swallow that. So I had the liquid pain medicine, so I wasn't really in much pain, like in my mouth, but for some reason I had a lot of neck and back pain, which I'm going to guess is being on all the different beds and then the operating room table, because it hurt pretty bad for like 3 days. And so the pain medicine controls the mouth pain, but one thing that it does not control is the swelling. And they give you like an ice pack that goes all the way around your head, but the swelling is just, it's not, you can't stop it. So I remember calling myself a chipmunk because literally I got so swollen that I no longer had like bags under my eyes because it was like all the way swollen up to my eyeballs. So that's hard. But if you keep ice on it, that helps a lot. And then after so many days of ice, they tell you to use heat, which, I mean, that really is a relief. And I would say, like, if you've had your wisdom teeth out surgically, like all 4 at once, that's a lot worse. To me, that was a lot worse. I had a lot more pain and difficulties having my wisdom teeth out than I did with this surgery. So, and then after you have the surgery, it's really hard to eat. Like, I know the minimum was at least 8 weeks. I did not eat like any food that had to be chewed whatsoever. It's all swallow only. And it might have even been longer than that because I remember I lost at least like 20 pounds and I was dizzy all of the time. I always felt like I was going to faint because I wasn't eating enough. And eventually I just started buying Ensure because that's a really good thing to get if you can't eat very good, because it does have a lot of the stuff you need. It has like the calories and carbs and protein, vitamins, you know, stuff you need. So I had a lot of pasta stuff, but even as an adult, like, I'm a pretty picky eater, and I lived off macaroni and cheese and all that processed crap when I was a kid. So I really hate that stuff now. I don't like a lot of boxed pasta, and I don't really like pudding and jello, so that was really hard having to eat that. Even mashed potatoes, I'm not a big fan of all that stuff. So I lost a lot of weight, didn't feel that good all the time, and got really, really tired of having to eat because you just cannot chew. And even this side now, I still can't chew on very good. Probably because this side when I had surgery, it wasn't completely successful, and on one of my post-operative appointments, they actually found it had it moved. So on one of the post-op appointments, I actually had this side cut open again and released. So it hurt more on this side than this side. And it did work, though. The surgery worked immediately. I mean, when I started cranking it, well, first they held my crank hostage for like a week, but then a week after the surgery, when I did start cranking it, it worked immediately. And I had a big gap here, and since this side didn't work at first, they did again, and then I had 2 giant gaps. I mean, they were just huge. I felt so strange. And like, so only I looked like a chipmunk, but then I started to look like Beaver too, because I had just 2 teeth right there, just hanging out by themselves, and 2 ginormous gaps. And I never wanted to go anywhere, like, after I had surgery. I didn't want anybody to see me, and I didn't want to have to talk to anybody either, because I just felt like such a goofball. And then I had stitches in here from the surgery. Most of them are up here where you can't even see them, but since this side wasn't successful and they did it again, there was stitches lower. So, you know, stuff like that happens. It's not a big deal. If I had to go through it all over again, you know, I would, because it did fix my jaw. Like, I don't have the narrow problem anymore. Like, the top actually matches up to the bottom now, so it was totally worth it. Probably not everybody can have it because it is like 10 to 20,000 without insurance. So luckily I do have insurance, but if I don't, they told me I could go to like a state hospital. Like, I think my dentist had told me that, because state hospitals you can like make payments, but private hospitals it's kind of hard. So I did have it done. It was still expensive with insurance. It was still a few thousand, which I'll be paying off. That's one thing about like having them as an adult. You have to pay for some of it yourself. I mean, my parents do help me with the surgery, but the braces I'm actually paying for. But it's totally worth it because, you know, you don't want to have crooked teeth forever. And even like as you get older, like the problem I had, like my bite, they told me that as I got older, I would have more likely my teeth would chip because how they hit so wrong. Like, I just had all kinds of problems. Like, it was too narrow up here, and then I had teeth that crossed in front, and then I had teeth that crossed behind. Like, I don't know the technical names for it because I didn't pay a lot of attention. I mean, all I knew is my teeth are crooked, fix them, you know? So, I would have it again, but I thought I'd just make a video on it because I know when I had it, I looked all over for videos, and I couldn't really find people, and it really scared me. Like, I wish I could have had someone to ask questions because it is a surgery. Surgeries are scary to me anyways, since I've never really had them. But if you have any questions about it or anything you'd like to know, just ask, because that's why I started my YouTube account, to share my story and help other people. And yep, talk to you later.